As an American that has very recently moved to Canada, I was shocked to find out that a lot of these things came from Canada. I think we just have this hubris about us that we believe that everything really cool that was invented or everything good comes from the US. And so to find out that these came from Canada was just, it was mind-blowing. So I made a big long list of everything that I found shocking. And I also wanted to make sure I didn't add the obvious things. So there's no Justin Bieber on here. There's no poutine. It covers quite a range from like companies to foods to artists and actors. So let's just jump right in. So the first category is food. And the first one on this list is peanut butter. I love peanut butter. I eat it by the bucket loads. It is a staple in my diet. So to find out that it comes from Canada rocked my world a little bit. It was actually created by a pharmacist for people that couldn't chew. So he created a peanut paste because he wanted something that had a little more protein in it. So that's how it came about, but now I eat it every single day of my life. Okay, next one. It's one of the biggest food controversies like in the world. Hawaiian pizza, putting pineapple on pizza. So the guy that came up with it, Sam Panopoulos, he was actually from Naples, but he was in Canada when he just opened up a can of pineapple and put it on a pizza. And it went over super well because most people like the savory and sweet combination. So you pineapple haters out there, there's something wrong with you. Next one that was kind of surprising was the California roll. Chef Tojo is the one who created this. From what I've read, it's a couple of different reasons why it's called the California roll. First, he used ingredients that are from California. And then another reason is that the people that liked it most were from California. So I don't know which one is actually the reason it got the name, but it was created here in Canada. Apparently Canada is a huge exporter and grower of potatoes. Again, I didn't even know this. Sorry, I'm an ignorant American. 2 fun facts about potatoes though. 1 in 4 French fries made worldwide is made in Canada. And then 2 instant mashed potatoes are made here. You guys are just the best. Okay, I'm going to pull up my list here because the next section is going to be actors. Again, I wanted this list to be like, I didn't know that this came from Canada. And this whole list of actors is just like one after the next after the next. So, okay, first of all, Nathan Fillion. And then you have Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling. Apparently you have a chokehold on the hot Ryans. Keanu Reeves is from Canada. Actually, he was born in Lebanon, I think, and then moved over here. Rachel McAdams. Will Arnett, John Candy, a legend. I didn't know he was from Canada. Jim Carrey, Michael Cera, Michael J. Fox. Like, what is happening? And then William Shatner. I thought Captain Kirk was born in Kansas, but apparently he's Canadian. And then really fast, I'll just go through some of the artists. I had no idea that Drake was from Canada. He doesn't seem to have the personality of a Canadian. Celine Dion. Okay, this is my fault. Apparently she is a Canadian treasure. I didn't know she was Canadian at all. And then you have the likes of Michael Bublé, Alessia Cara, Shania Twain. What? Bare Naked Ladies. I love this. This is such a fun thing to do. Just sit here and realize and to have your mind blown over and over and over again. Next, 2 big companies that I had no idea were from Canada. First of all is Lululemon. And I moved to Vancouver, so they're here and they're everywhere and I love it. But I was shocked. I had no idea that they were from here. I mean, it's really fabulous because everybody walking around is decked out head to toe in Lululemon like 90% of the time. I'm here for it. I wish as a Vancouverite, they were just tossing it out on all the street corners because I can't afford it. The only Lululemon I have is secondhand. Next one is Herschel. These bags are everywhere. When we were living in New Zealand, my best friend there had a Herschel bag and they're just so cute and like timeless and classy. But again, I had no idea that they were from Canada. Another company that I've never shopped at, but I've heard spoken so many times is Aritzia. I don't know. Anyways, this next one is huge. International Standard Time was invented by a railroad engineer, Sanford Fleming. But the story goes that he missed his train only because of non-synchronized clocks. And so he got to the platform, the train was gone already, so he had to wait like 24 hours for the next one. And he got pissed off about it. And so then he came up with the idea of 24 global time zones. And then like he was so passionate and on it that he went to the UN and had them come up with the idea and like implement it across the world. What? People are just so cool and smart. And then there's me making videos on YouTube. The lines that we have on streets, you know, to say that this is my side and this is your side, don't cross. That comes from Canada. That was invented here. I just love the things that are worldwide used and they're from Canada and nobody just knows. Here's this gift world. Use it. It makes us all greater and happier and safer. Next, we just had Halloween, but apparently the phrase trick or treat was first recorded here in Ontario in 1917. Isn't that cute? I also just love the ones that have little stories connected with them. But this one, apparently newspaper publisher overheard an argument about how they put all of the eggs in one basket and it cracked them. So by the time they got home, they were mad about it. They came back and they were arguing. And so he was like, surely there's a better solution. So he just took paper and made it so that they had their each individual little nests, and that's how we have egg cartons. And the other cool thing about that is like it's relatively untouched, so like what he invented is pretty much what we still use today. A lot of these they're a little uncertain. So this one, for example, basketball, a lot of people can argue either way about it, but I'm including it on the list because I learned about it and thought it was cool. So basketball was created by somebody from Canada. They were in Massachusetts at the time though, so again, you can pick which side of the argument you want to win. But he wanted a game that went in between the other sports, so like in the wintertime when you can play it indoors. And apparently he just hung up 2 peach baskets on each side of the room and then gave him a soccer ball and was like, okay, go at it. And that's how basketball was invented. Another super popular thing used all over the world is canola oil, made from rapeseed oil, and it was invented at the University of Manitoba. Next up, we have a guy named Harry in Winnipeg, and the local hospitals really wanted a sanitary way of getting rid of all the waste. So Harry took it upon himself to make flexible plastic that you can put into the bins and pick it up and throw it away. Thus the garbage bag was invented. Apparently there's also a couple other guys that came up with the idea kind of at a similar time in a different spot. So okay, this next one. I just love the things that are like quintessentially American and yet they come from Canada. So like basketball, that's why I included it, because it's just so like, what? But yeah, the next one here is green ink for money. Apparently during the Civil War, they were really trying to fight against counterfeit money, and so they didn't want to use black ink because it was really easy to copy. So there was a Professor Hunt from Quebec that created the green ink. He named it the Canada Banknote Tint, and that is what we still use on our American dollar bills today, which I just find hilarious because Canada doesn't even use that. Like they have a completely different layout on their bills, and yet America, who didn't invent it, stole it from them, and we are still proudly using it today. What can I say? We're big fans. Here's a couple other fun ones that don't need a big explanation. The hard cup jockstrap, the push-up bra, luggage tag, the snowblower, hockey masks. Like there's so many little things that are just so random but fun. And then here at the end, I thought I would create kind of a gray areas category because again, these things are just so hard to kind of pinpoint exactly. Anyways, the first one is the telephone. So obviously we all know that Bell created the telephone, but what we oftentimes don't hear about is the fact that he was born in the UK. He moved to Canada when he was young. A lot of his formative years were lived in Canada. So yeah, he invented the idea of the telephone while he was sitting in Canada. He actually patented it in the US, but then he also did the first phone call in Canada. It was made from Brantford to Paris, Ontario. So it's just like a fun little hodgepodge. So like he's a dual citizen. He kind of created it in both places. Yeah, Americans like to think that it's all them. But then also Canada likes to say that it's all them too. So a few other things that Canadians like to claim for themselves. Radio broadcasting. This one has a little more merit to the story. So a lot of people attribute radio to Marconi, but his first broadcast was a Morse code. So it wasn't like words, it wasn't like an actual radio broadcast that we like to think of. But there was a guy named Pheasanton who actually did do a full broadcast with words, singing and violin even, that he did by himself here in Canada. He just doesn't get a lot of the credit, so I don't know. It's kind of it's a gray area. Next is the zipper. I'm not even going to go into that full story. It's kind of a mess, but Canadians like to sometimes claim it. The light bulb, again, it's like who came up with the original idea and who made it better and where was it actually done and where was it actually invented? It's all of these different questions. And then the last one is football. So yeah, apparently Canada and America kind of came up with the game. They helped each other with the idea, but then they created their own separate things. But the story goes that they went to play it together for the first time and they had such different rules that it ended up not working. So I don't know. Well, that's all I have. That was my list of things that I found surprisingly Canadian. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!